Hello there. Welcome back. Excerpts from my book. As you know, I started a business. I wanted to be kind of independent. Do it my way. When I started that little business, I had no money, no shop. I had no tools. I had a few tools, hand tools, but I didn't have any stock. And at that time, you needed about at least $5,000 worth of tubes for televisions. They all had tubes in those days. At least $5,000 worth of tubes. Then you needed other things too, different items. You needed equipment, oscilloscopes, and, if you're going to do it right. I had none of that. So what I did, and I was invited out here to a state prison to talk to the inmates. And I went out there and talked to them. And the story I'm going to tell you is true, and this is a story I told them. I told them the story. Okay, so I had a prayer, and now prayer is really important. And I asked the Lord if He'd help me. I told Him I wanted to open up a little TV business, and for the purpose of supporting myself and my family. But I didn't have any. I was destitute. And I asked Him if He'd like to be my partner. Now, I didn't ask Him for help, but I asked Him if He wanted, would you be my partner in this business? And that's what I kind of likened it, my partner. And I was at home, and so I finished the prayer. The phone rings in 5 minutes. I go answer the phone. Is this Mr. Gaskell? And I said, yes. And it's a young lady. And she says, my name is so-and-so, and I've got this wig shop down here at the shopping center. And I signed a year lease, but I've got to get out of it. And I understand that you're looking for a small shop for your business. Now, this happened. And I didn't tell anybody about that I'm looking for a shop yet, because I just decided that I wanted to get a shop. I says, wow. I says, and she says, if you'll take over this lease, I'll give you 6 months, free rent, and the utilities are included. 6 months. And after 6 months, you have 4 more. She had it for 2 months, but she signed a year. You have 4 more that you have to pay for. I said, well, how much are the payment? $100 a month. I says, sold. I'm on my way down. So I jump in the car, go down. Nice shop, 800 square feet. It was small, but it was nice. It's in a shopping center. Oh, yeah. Place to park. Oh, yeah. Nice. The utilities were included. So she gave me the keys. There was shelves and stuff, and she said she didn't want the shelves. And I said, well, I'll take them down and give them to whoever. And she said, but I do want that chair. And it was a chair you pump up, It was a wig shop. So she came and got the chair in a couple days. Anyway, so she leaves. I'm standing in this 800 square foot shop. And I'm thinking, man, I just had a prayer last night. Now, I'm going to go over the owner of this shopping center. He also owned the grocery store. It was a big one. It wasn't as big as your huge stores, but it was like bigger than the average. It was a good-sized store. And I kind of knew the guy. His name was Wally. And he came from Safeway. He was manager of Safeway stores and stuff. So he had a lot of experience. Anyway, he owned, and I kind of knew him a little bit. So I went over to get me a soda pop. Wally's there, you know. He said, hey, the lady tells me that you're going to take over her lease. I said, yeah. I said, I'm doing it. He says, good. What are you going to do over there? And I said, I'm going to open a television business. Oh, man, really? And I says, yeah. He says, come here. He almost drags me to an area of the store. Here's a big tube checker. It's blue and white and chrome. And it's one of these self-checking. You could check your own tubes. They had them in those days. You could take a tube out, take it down to the store and check it. And if it's bad, you buy another one. And you'd fix your own TV and all that. So this tube checker, it had $11,000 worth of tubes in it. 11,000. This thing was huge. And, oh man, it was heavy. And so Wally goes, hey, I need the space. Look how big this thing is. I said, yeah, it's pretty big. Well, if you'll take it over there, and if you sell a tube for $10 or $5, you give me half, and you keep the other half. Is that fair? I said, couldn't get any better than that. He says, let's do it. So he helped me. And this is so I got the shop that morning. This is like a half an hour later. So he leaves, takes a hand truck with him. I shut the door, and I plug this thing in, and it all lights up nice. And I open the cabinet, and all these tubes, oh man, brand new tubes. Oh, amazing. All deep. So something else happened that day too, I can't remember. But anyway, within the week, oh man, I was ready to rock and roll. And I didn't have anything. And I remember when I was talking to the prisoners out there, the first thing I asked them, I says, do you need money to start a business? And they held up their hands and, yes, 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 yes. And I go, no, you don't. It was kind of funny because I talked to them right after they probably had the best Sunday school lesson they ever had in their lives. A tremendous teacher gave them this Sunday school lesson. And then I asked the Sunday school teacher if I could say a few words to him. And I didn't know what I was going to say until I stood up. And it was quite a deal. In fact, when the Sunday school teacher, he's pretty old now, but when I see him, you know, he lives here in town. And when I see him a couple times a year. Whenever I see him, he says, man, I remember that prison talk you gave. Yeah, that was quite a deal. But you got to understand, he gave this, and there's 200 or 300 prisoners. It's a big group. And, he gave him a good lesson. Oh, man, it was powerful. He's a very good teacher. And then I get up, I'm looking at all these guys, and I don't know what I'm going to say. All I know is I want to get up and say something to these guys. So I go, well, you guys have had it now. I'm shaking my head like this, like that. Shaking my head like that. I says, you guys go out, you get out of jail, you go try to get a job, you fill out the form, it says, have you ever been arrested? If you put no, within a couple minutes, they're going to know you've been arrested. Because, you know, it's all online now, computer stuff. And if you put yes, it's going to go right in the round file. Man, what are you going to do? Wait. This is America. This is America. And then there was a young kid. There were some young men young men, a lot of older men, but young men. I asked this one young man, he kind of looking at me, and I says, hey, what do you know how to do best? And he said, oh man, I work on cars. I says, really? Car mechanic? Yes. Do you know the electronics and the new car? Oh yeah. I said, wow, what's your first name? And he told me. And I said, oh, I can see it now. Get a piece of wood, paint it white, put your name on there, Bob's Auto Shop or whatever. And you go find a garage you can rent for like $50 a month. Some little old lady, she's got a garage and there's nothing in it, and she'd like you get $50 a month for it, or $25, whatever. You go and say, hey, I got I work on cars and I'd like to rent your garage and to work on a few cars here and try to make a living, and how would you feel about that? And, like that. So I went through this whole thing, and I said, now, if you really want to be successful, I don't care what business you're in or you start. Take the Lord in as your partner. You do that, and man, hang on. Buckle yourself in, man, because you're about ready to take off. And I don't know how he does it, but he does it. And I told him about the story of the television business I started. And when it was all over, when I was done, I said, so when you guys get out of here, be good. Don't fall back into this crazy stuff. I says, make something of yourself, Do good, be good. Build yourself a business in a country that's free. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it here in America. And when I was done, everybody stood up and clapped. Oh, man. The deputies they came running. They thought it was a riot or something because, 300 people clapping. Oh, man, And the head of the Sunday school down there, he was stake president. He was head of a lot of the churches down in that area. He come up to me and he says, hey, what did you say to him? And I go, I don't remember. And he goes, you don't? Oh, man. Yeah, I haven't been down there for a while. I guess I ought to go back and talk to him again soon. Give him a little hope. Everybody needs a little hope. Okay, well, it's good. So, talked enough? I hope you're doing well. Hope you're trying to be better every day. A little bit, just a little. Nothing too crazy. Just a little bit. And when you get over there, the Lord's going to say, hey, you tried a little bit every day. That's great. Come on in. Oh, yeah. A little bit every day. That's what he's going to say. I know that. Have a good week. Take care.